Greetings, YouTube. I apologize on the onset for how weird this aspect ratio is. You can see there's black boxes on the side. I always tell my students never to film an iPhone vertical, but when you're reading Twitter messages, it's just difficult to have anything besides vertical uh, symbols. As you can tell, Medieval Man 26, longtime friend, supporter of the channel, hit me up this weekend because he, like so many of you, is trying to think of a way going forward that Kabam and Netmarble, with the new CEO for Kabam and also the renewed co-op or cooperation with Netmarble, I don't even know what to call it, but it was big enough and important enough to have its own announcement, so you'd think it's going to mean something. He's trying to think of what going forward is going to make this game more fun. What's the future of MCOC going to look like? And so he had a bunch of messages and pictures, and I just thought, I think it's going to be more important to show everything in this video because it's all really good information. So I want you to know off the top, a lot of you play multiple games, and you've played multiple games throughout your lives. You're a lot younger than me, and yet you have a lot more experience with mobile games than I do. I grew up on the Super Nintendo, the Nintendo 64, eventually the GameCube. Took a break with all console systems while I was in college. Bought a very old Xbox 360 once I graduated from college. And then an even older Wii. Those are the oldest consoles in my house right now. Should I get a PS5? Probably. Can I find one? Absolutely not. But for the moment, here is the future of this game, the game that we all love so much, MCOC, based off of his thoughts. Here's what I'm hoping they put into MCOC now, he says, that the new CEO is in charge. Something similar to this system from another of their games. So you can see here, we've got drop rates and a list of acquirable heroes, and their rates is shown below. Now, the drop rates look pretty bad, right? Half of 1%, 0.25% for the rest. 0.25%. We know how that is. Basically, think of that as like a 5-star Nexus for a Grandmaster Crystal or a 6-star Nexus from a Cavalier Crystal. It's a little bit bad of an analogy, but it's basically somewhat similar. And then you can see the provided rates are rounded up to 5 decimal places. The total rate may not be 100%. All right, so standard drop rates. Well, what's the big deal? Well, in this game, while the crystals start out very similar to Cavalier crystals or Grandmaster crystals or featured Cavalier crystals, SSR is a top type of character, so equivalent to, say, a 6-star drop rate on a Cavalier. But the nice thing is, you always talk about choice and guaranteed value. And yes, thank you, Medieval Man 26, I do. I am a channel that wants far more choice in this game and less chance. Far more control, less of a gamble. Our game currently has no restrictions on how many thousands of new featured Cavalier crystals, for example, that you have to buy to not only get the 6-star, but get the 6-star up to SIG 200. When I was interviewing Maladar Gaming, he was talking about how some alliance mates would spend maybe over $10,000 to get the new champion and try to get them to at least SIG 100 as a 6-star, which sounds crazy and is crazy, and that's what normal people save up years for to buy a car, and this is what they're dropping in one weekend on a digital character of a mobile game, and that's part of the problem, right? Like, if I'm Kabam and I know that I can put a cap on guaranteed value after X amount of money spent or X amount of crystals opened, that actually is going to eat into my income. It's going to eat into my pocketbook. The only time we've really seen this kind of control was at the end of 2021 during Cyber Weekend, where those at the top of Thronebreakers could have what essentially was a wish crystal of 2020, where you got to pick one champion that was released in all of 2020, which there are a lot of good champions released, and so it still wasn't the easiest decision. All right, back to the video. All right, so you can see Valentine's special pickup draw. Draw it 1 time, draw it 2 times. This is a advertisement, and you can see on the top 210 to 300 all the way to 600. And again, if you're playing this game, I'm sure you could explain it more than me, or better than me, I should say. I'm just going off of what he's telling me about having never played this game. At the top, check marks, you get one, and the last one, you get this choice. Loyalty reward. Fill up the loyalty gauge to select and acquire one of the following rewards. Now, if you're thinking about MCOC, maybe every time you open a featured Cavalier Crystal, the loyalty bar moves slightly. It's not like you can get a champion with a couple Odins, that's a 6-star, although that'd be nice, right? But at the same time, you can't do what some people have done, which is like throw $5,000 in a new champion and still not get the 6-star. Can you believe that's actually what happens to so many people? Sadly, I've seen that happen so often that it's hard to even keep track of how often I've seen that now. Gems equal units. For a total of 600, you get the new unit. Will they do it for MCOC? Maybe, maybe not. But it'd be a good change of pace. When I think about something like the Iron Man Infinity War side quest fight that I've heard from so many of you middle-class players that is making you pull more than I have left of your hair out, it's because you don't have the right counter. And I get a little upset when I hear somebody say at the very top of the food chain, just use Corvus, it's easy. You can't just use Corvus, because a lot of people don't have Corvus. And even if they have, say, a 5-star Corvus, they don't have the resources to rank up Corvus. So you're trying to use maybe Iron Fist, I don't know, somebody else. Either way, we need more control over the outcome of crystals going forward for a lot of the people in the middle to feel like they have a fighting chance. They're never going to catch up to endgame players. Some of you started way too late, to be honest. But at the same time, that still is the motivation. He said, what I sent is a standard type of banner. They do not have a hyped up one. I don't know what that means. Those they run at 300, 600, and 900, a similar concept. Money-wise, the Odin is 80 for 102 gems versus 100 for 3,100 units. And I said, so what would the max in units be? And is that like a choice nexus at the end? I mean, what a brilliant question by myself. It's more like the nexus they did for all of 2020, which I referred to earlier in the video with the Wish Crystal during Cyber Weekend. You pick the unit you want, so if you had gotten the featured one, you could get a duplicate or one of the others there. And it resets, so you claim the end reward for burning cash or your free gems, and it starts again. Infinite attempt. That's much better of value, but I'm sure they still rack up millions of dollars in overall revenue. Again, referencing my last interview, Kabam makes more money when Maladar Gaming and I were talking about, like, if you sell 100 deals for $100, or you can sell 500 deals for $30, you know, you're still going to make more in the long run. You don't want to cheapen something so much that the value goes away completely, but there's got to be a sweet spot where more people can afford it and yet you still make a nice profit. They also have Step Up, where they have rewards such as resources you use on top of getting the character openings. On those ones, it's typical to sow 250-ish total, 250-ish total for rotation, and you get until guaranteed at the end, plus chances along the way, 2 guaranteed SSR and a discount 1 instead of 30, it's 1. Those tend to be less hyped characters. Would be like if for America Chavez pools, they gave Tank 1 materials and 5-star 6 stones as rewards for spinning units. And for Hercules, they do the one I sent you. More hyped, more money to them. Less hyped, less money, but still insensitive to get her for cheaper. An incentive, maybe? And then 900 gems gets it at guarantee. Buying all the packs give extra attempts. Basically, highest amount gives 65 tickets, 10 tickets, 30. 544 2 rotations gets 2 6 guaranteed copies. This is all impressive numbers that don't really mean a lot to me, but those of you who play this probably understand. YouTubers get 6 out of 6 and that many are 5. If RNGF shoe that bad, 3,000 roughly is 100% assured featured 6-star at 6,200. So $3,000 maybe would get you a 6,200. I don't think Kabam would do it that cheap, but maybe it would be $5,000. I don't know. Imagine if you got Null or Hercules 6-star Awaken with 146 stones deep for $400. Both games are owned by Netmarble, he says. So, in the end, I have my doubts that Kabam would move to this system. But I do think after, golly, $10,000 worth, you should get a SIG 200. Like, really? Really? If Kabam wants to expand the game, I think that's nice. And that actually might incentivize whales to spend even more. I don't know. Maybe I'm off base. As they say in Home Alone, maybe I'm off my rocker. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I know this is a longer than normal video, but I wanted to cover all of this. So I looked down and it was at 10 minutes, and I said, so be it. Thanks for watching.